Jamie might come during this, so
Okay, that's fine.
I'll take care of him. Okay, so we just got a kitchen appointment for Friday at 9:30 with a networking person of mine.
Okay.
And then I need to get AJ's too. Oops, she needs to do 10 or 10:30. 10:30. You want me to take Stacy or Craig?
Should we do? Because Craig doesn't have anything else in the works fully yet.
Let's do
Let's do Craig, and then the next one we'll go to the one that we gotta call those people, and one of those can go to Stacy.
Yeah, hopefully we
those.
get several of them.
Yeah, because I saw one this morning. Her name was like Shannon or something.
Okay.
But again, she didn't book an appointment.
Yeah, I don't know why that's not happening. Why is that not happening?
I don't know.
Why would you give your name and number?
So there's Sharon, Gail,
So we should have 7 now,
Jennifer.
or 8, somewhere around there.
Yeah, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 people to call. Yvonne, we haven't heard from again. Beth, I gotta email her tomorrow, and I gotta do that layout.
The Scott guy that walked in, are you just, we're not giving that to anybody, you're kind of just letting Leah run with that?
Yeah, I'm gonna work with Leah on it.
Okay. I think that's fine.
Okay, I didn't even think about that. So I was like, I don't need that late on Friday. Like I have that whole house, I have that master bathroom. I gotta get my W-9 filled out so it might face me.
I gave you one, right? Yeah.
Yeah, you did. I just haven't done it yet. Yeah. You know how it goes.
We could probably take Leah to Dana too.
I asked her if she wanted to go and she can't. She has
Oh,
class.
shoot.
So no,
I was gonna say she would
I'm
be.
pretty much pickpocketing her with me for the next month and a half, I think.
No. Okay, sorry. I'll take care of this. Okay, we might be on the south end, but. All right, we'll see you. Thank you very much. Bye.
My friend just calls me. She probably should have. She's like, I have a CD. It's THC that I love shit. That was like, everybody's like, maybe you shouldn't put that on a Facebook post.
Perhaps.
They're like, maybe you should just ask friends through Messenger.
It's fine. I was like, yeah, It's already noon.
I
That
know.
hour went fast.
I know. Look at our empty wall. I think we should put something above.
I'd like to put customer testimonials because we've tried hanging artwork or that clock or whatever, and it's too hard for
Never
people to
sell.
see.
Yeah.
So if we did those big canvases, I was hoping that idea would work, but it doesn't. It gets lost. People don't notice it,
People want to buy it.
and people want to buy it. So if we did big canvases with the same quotes, you know, I think that would be okay.
Okay.
Is it in yet? Oh, I did. I should plug in my phone. He just said, it was a great week. Glad to be part of the team. I lost it all of a sudden. There it is. Glad to be part of the team. 2021 is going to be an amazing year. Are we okay to announce them next week, do you think?
Yeah,
Should we
we
go
will
on?
announce me too.
Okay.
So when they're seeing me, I don't care anymore.
We'll probably space them out a little bit. So maybe we'll do, if you want us to do you first, that's fine. And then Craig
You do
next week.
Craig first.
Okay.
You do Craig first, and then we can put myself. I gotta do a write up for myself for the website.
Yeah.
I'm gonna put my picture back in.
Okay. And we can use that headshot. I don't know how to get a good headshot of Craig. We need to do that.
We can call Amber too.
Mm-hmm.
Ask her to do a headshot.
Okay.
I have a headshot too.
Well, yours we have.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
So let's do yours this week, and then if you want to ask Amber to get a
I know
headshot.
she's unnatural this weekend for her.
Oh, okay. So she could
I
do
just
it.
heard tomorrow.
Otherwise, I know Troy's around too. Or do we just take a picture of them and put it up there?
He might have a headshot too. That's fine. He doesn't have those.
Okay.
Can Eric make something like that?
Mm-hmm. You sure could. That's cool. Actually. Who's asking for that? That's cute.
Somebody on Facebook. Did they tell us that we could just start? They did yesterday.
Yesterday they did.
It was afternoon, right?
What's up?
It was noon, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. You can wear stuff.
Well, good morning. I am Jessica, and this is Danny, and we are with Delight and Designs. Delight and Designs was founded in 2018, actually, but we actually opened our doors in March of 2019. And really, what we are is a staff of interior designers equipped to help you design something as small as your fireplace mantle all the way to a full-blown kitchen bath remodel. So we run the gamut. I encourage you to come to our showroom at 5426 Northland Drive, where you will find a whole lot of home accessories and rugs and lamps. And then in the back of our store, we have a design studio intended for you to use. So you can pick out wallpaper and tile and wood flooring and fabrics. So I encourage you to come out and visit us.
We do all sorts of kitchens, any range, from refinishing to new builds to remodel and bringing in new cabinets. We have all sorts of options for you here. And how luxurious they can be as luxurious as you want. We will let you spend your money on where you would like to spend your money. But we can work within your budget and still make it your dream kitchen within your budget as well, and make it very make it unique for you.
Yeah, I guess I would add to that too. Luxury is in the eye of the beholder, if you will. So luxury to one homeowner might be appliances or cabinets, and luxury to another homeowner might be function. And to have the luxury of a good functioning kitchen can be a gift to yourself. And I'm going to promote Danny a little bit, but I've seen her in action and really takes into mind the thoughtfulness of each individual kitchen owner and how they're going to use their kitchen, and really keeps that in mind as she does her magic to design. So thank you for the question.
Yes. So our question is, what kind of things should I include in my design if I love cooking? I've always dreamed of having a hibachi cooktop on my island. If you have that dream, we can definitely work with it. I think the biggest thing would be, if you're going to do the hibachi cooktop on the island, is that all of your lowers are functional for you to have your setup right there. So all your spices and seasoning are going to be on a pull-out next to you, and making sure that your countertop is cleared so you can set all your food on it. So maybe the next cabinet next to it would be holding all of your utensils right next to it, and you have big drawers for your pots, pans, and kind of everything right there, all accessible for what you like to use for your hibachi cooktop. So there's lots of different inserts we can put in and storage organizers that we can put in the kitchen to make that really work for you in that area.
The only other thing I would add to that is, when you have a dinner party, make sure you remember who designed your kitchen, and send out an invite.
Put our little sign next to it. And,
exactly.
And get good at doing little flips too, so that you can toss it
There you
across
go.
the island into somebody's mouth.
Entertainment.
Yeah, entertainment with it.
I like it.
Mm-hmm.
Questions.
We just had another question of, what are the current trends in kitchens? And I'm going to say your white shaker is a very big trend right now. Floating shelves and open the open concept within your kitchen is also very popular right now. I am seeing more of 3-tone versus the two, like just one color of an island and one color on your perimeter, which is kind of exciting. So a lot of people are adding natural wood tones within their floating shelves So they'll have let's just say a blue island, a white perimeter, and then adding that softwood natural tone of floating shelves throughout your kitchen. Some other trends I'm going to say are your subway tile or a version of subway tile, because there's lots of options for subway tile as well, and taking it all the way up to the ceiling and making it really look larger than that smaller space than what it is. I just had another question come in to piggyback on that. Are there trends that we should avoid that will seem outdated in a few years?
Good question.
That is a very good question. And it's kind of a little bit of a complex question, I'm going to say as well, is if you love the trend and you especially, let's say shiplap right now, a lot of people are adding shiplap to their islands or shiplap back panels. If you love shiplap and you've always loved it, even though it's a trend right now, I would still do it because it's something that you love. If you're just doing it because you think it's pretty and kind of fun right now, then I would avoid it. And let's do something a little bit more transitional to your island pieces of that, because I've been seeing a lot of people do back shiplap to the back of an island on the sides, adding it to a lot of different tones. The other big thing that I'm seeing as a trend is your white shaker. White is, you'll hear a lot of people say that white is just a classic color, but again, so is your wood species. So I would never, just because white is popular right now, if you love wood tones, I would go with a wood tone, not with just a popular trend of it. You have to love white because white is also going to show something, and you really need to take care of it properly for it to keep its white after 10 years.
And I would say too, to kind of add to that, really the Butler's Pantry is coming back in a big way. And it's a really nice space to put your countertop appliances like your blenders and your crock pots and that kind of thing. So that is a newer trend, probably within the last 2 years that I see definitely picking up momentum. If you're having appliances on your countertop in sight of, people that when you're entertaining or whatever, it's not as appealing. So if you can tuck those away, I think that's a good thing.
That's, I think, another, I wouldn't avoid it, because I would definitely kind of lean towards the Butler's Pantry or some sort of bigger pantry to store all your stuff in. So it makes it a lot cleaner, a lot more open throughout everything as well. Our next question that we have come in is Butcher Block still in? Would it be considered timeless? Do you like using it throughout the whole kitchen or just on the island? Again, that's kind of if you love it, definitely you can put it throughout all of your whole kitchen, because it is a treated finish, but realize that there is going to be maintenance after a few years to have it refinished, resealed, and kind of maintain it, especially with cleaning on it. But Butcher Block, it is really still in. I think it's growing a little bit more right now because it helps bring those natural tones into your kitchen instead of the stark cold grays. There's lots of wood species that you can do within your Butcher Block as well to give it a different look as well.
I would say too, I'll throw in that we just actually added countertop in one of our displays here at Delight and Designs that is gorgeous. It's a walnut and it is a Butcher Block. And it really depends on the user. You can add a lot of character if you truly intend to use Butcher Block for chopping and cutting meat and all that, and that's going to add a lot of character. If you want to keep it that pristine, gorgeous, beautiful, because they are just beautiful to look at, then obviously Danny's correct. You want to make sure that you maintain it well.
Yeah, maintaining, just like Derek just commented, we have Butcher Block and love it. We lightly sand and re-oil with tongue oil every year, and that is exactly what you kind of want to do to kind of help give it shine. But that will keep especially when, what Jessica was saying is, if you do cut on it every day and you do all your chopping and work on it, it's going to add character to it no matter what. That's what it's meant for, and it kind of gives you this beautiful natural look of a Butcher Block throughout your whole top versus the pristine look. But the tongue oil every year and sanding it will help get rid of those and kind of give it that shine again and life again that you want. So it's very good, Derek.
And also too, I'll throw in, a lot of people might steer away because they're afraid of that maintenance, but really by rights, you should be maintaining your granite and your quartz with different things too. So there's really not that much difference in maintaining, especially your granite and quartz and Butcher Block. What's that?
I would say there's less maintaining in your quartz.
Yeah.
There's a lot less. But your granite and your, especially your natural stones.
The next one is we have a breakfast bar and have noticed that I need to add legs because it's starting to sag. Do you have recommendations for legs or supports? There's lots of different things you can do. There's metal brackets, all brackets that you could put on underneath. There's corbels that you could do to match as well. I think it just depends on what style of kitchen you have. If you have a more traditional transitional kitchen, you could definitely go towards a corbel that kind of hopefully is stained to match what you have. If you have a paint, you could paint it to match that, which would be a little bit easier than staining because it's a wood species, so it's going to age a little bit differently than what your kitchen has aged already. The other thing you could do is metal posts. If you have metal kind of throughout your whole house, you could add metal leg supports or again legs as well to kind of do that. It just would depend on what you have in your kitchen that's going to make it the most appealing and pleasing. So I would definitely try to complement the kitchen that you already had, especially if you have that butcher block that you're kind of saying. That was like that natural tone is going to be really important, I think, to kind of complement the butcher block in your kitchen as well.
And legs actually are an opportunity to express personality too. So you can, go with a spindle leg or a big, bulky, more like a beam-like leg, or like Danny alluded to, metal leg. So it's really an opportunity to show off some of your character as well.
Yeah.
Do you want to take that one, or do you want me to?
Oh, I didn't even see one pop up. The next question is what is more popular, a double basin sink or a single? What is better for design? Ooh, if it's an undermount, it's going to not matter as much. It's going to be a little bit more hidden. You're not going to see it until you're over it. When it comes to a farm sink, your single sinks, like the single sink is beautiful, but they have come out, Blanco and LK both have come out with great double sinks in a farm, and that porcelain farm sink or fireplace sink that's a little bit lower, so you really don't see the difference of having a single or a double. I think it's really going to be preference on how you cook, and that's kind of something that when we sit down on our first meeting to kind of go over what you're looking to do is we sit down and figure out your style of if you are a large cooker and you do like to cut and you do like to soak your fruits and veggies, and or how you wash your dishes, because there's some people that don't really want to use their sink that often, or they want to be able to fit their big pots and pans, so they go to a single bowl so they can fit their large pots and pans. And it just kind of depends on the material. Again, you really can't do a low divide with a porcelain or fireplace sink. They haven't offered that yet, but if you're in a composite granite sink, a lot of LK, Blanco, again, they have a low divide sink, so it looks like it's one single sink, but there is the divide, so you can still do the two water bins and kind of the necessity of your standard cooking options and cleaning options. So there's lots of different options. It's going to be more on your preference of how you cook in your home and what you like to do. Do you have anything to add to that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
No. And then we just got another question. What about those bar sinks in the island? Are they functional? That's definitely a newer trend too, is to add those prep sinks into your island. My recommendation is don't forget to put a disposal in those, because you've got a lot of the vegetable peelings and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
A lot of times I've seen where they put the sink in and then they think, oh, we have a disposal in our main sink, but it's really nice to have that extra disposal in your prep sink as well.
Yeah, and to kind of piggyback from that, it is especially if you have a really large kitchen that is spaced out, it is really nice to have, because then you have ease of access to kind of where your cooktop and fridge is. It adds that extra, and it adds a little bit more character to your island too. And then kind of if you have a bar, let's say across the ways of your living room, and you have the chance to do plumbing, I always recommend to always put a sink kind of in a bar area as well. It helps with functionality, especially if that's going to be where your coffee is or where you are going to be mixing drinks. It's always nicer to have a sink over there to be able to clean your fruit or get your glasses ready. Delta has, especially if it's a bar, Delta has this new feature that's pretty cool that it sits next to your faucet and it's like a cup sprayer that your breweries have. That's kind of fun to have with that sink as well, and you already have the plumbing there. So it's just a little bit of fun to have about your bar sink in either in a true wet bar, and then in your island to have those around there for the functionality of a lot of stuff. Our next question is what about a second kitchen, like in the basement? How many bells and whistles should it have? I am going to go off of what is it being used for. If it's being used for, let's say, hosting a ton of events and parties and having people hang out, I would say yes, put the bells and whistles in, because that's where you're going to be your main hangout spot is. You don't have to do a full oven or a full cooktop, but you could do a smaller 24, or just do an oven and not a cooktop so you can keep things warm, especially if you're hosting a lot. I would definitely put in a full-size refrigerator if you're going to do kind of a full kitchen, just so you can have all of your food right there that you're going to be putting in and out, your beverages that you're drinking, and ice, again, is right there. I would definitely do a little bit larger of a sink. If it's a lot farther from the kitchen, I do normally recommend somebody put a dishwasher, just because not a lot of people like to hand wash dishes when there's the convenience of a dishwasher, nor do they like to go up and down the stairs repeatedly to load their dishwasher and then bring their dishes back down. So the ease of convenience to have a dishwasher down in a basement kitchen is really nice. It just, again, depends on if it's for, let's just say, your kids to kind of hang out with your kids, maybe just a microwave and refrigerator then, because they're just using it to kind of hang out in the basement and do some with their friends and hang out. They really are probably not going to be cooking themselves, unless if you have a kid that's a chef and wants to bake all the time.
Exactly.
So
Pizzas in the basement.
Yeah. So it really just depends on kind of of what the use is for all the bells and whistles. If it's going to be, for a lot of people are starting to do the mother-in-law suites again, and have their mother-in-law or their grandparents live in the basement or at home again, then I would do a full set of kitchen and kind of add everything for them, because then that's their space to have and sit and live in and be by themselves. And then you have the main kitchen upstairs for your everyday, your big family gatherings and your personal family. So that's just kind of, there's a lot of different ways you can go about it. It's just going to be the use of the space for what you want, and kind of thinking in the future ahead of it too. So if it's something that you do see being a mother-in-law suite, then I would do it right away instead of holding back on it. Or if you know it's just going to be a hangout quick spot, then you can kind of not add as many things.
The only thing I would add to that is, in working with a designer, such as Danny or myself or any of the other designers with Delight in Designs, is it's our job to ask the right questions to figure out what that feature looks like for you. So we'll help you kind of hone in if you see that mother-in-law or father-in-law moving in, which we're seeing much more trends of moving in that direction. But again, lean on us, and we'll ask the right questions and kind of help guide you and navigate to those answers to help plan and be smart with your money.
Yep.
So
the next question we have is it possible to make a butler type pantry in a smaller kitchen? How creative can you guys get to add more storage to a smaller kitchen? There's lots of different ways to add storage within a small kitchen, even if we can't do a pantry. Hopefully we can add a cabinet pantry that will help you get your storage there, whether it's smaller or as large as we can get it. Drawers are kind of your best friend. They help you pull everything out and see it versus opening 2 cabinet doors. So adding more drawer space for you within the cabinet design. Or we find a closet that is kind of close to your kitchen and we got that and put different shelves and inserts for you to kind of use that as a pantry as well. There's normally lots of different options we can do to kind of add storage and add cabinet space and functionality within your kitchen for a smaller kitchen.
And I would say too, some of those smaller kitchens that are older, they still have those bulkheads, which that's an opportunity. Let's get rid of those, and we can build cabinets up, and that will add a tremendous amount of storage for you. And then, Danny, you're going to be able to talk to this more than I will, but there's a lot of technology in cabinets to make space of the blind corner. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yes. Most people try to avoid the blind corner because it's the lost corner is what I kind of call it, is you don't get to fully see what's back there, but they have come out with a lot of different organizers in blind corners to make them more functional. So it's not just a never ending cabinet. They now have, Revachel has pullouts, and Kesselmammer also has pullouts that the door opens and things pull out, slide over, and it brings over a whole nother section of drawers. So it makes it a little bit more functional for you. Also, your corner cabinets are a lot better with the Lazy Susans as well. Most of them are made on 2 separate shelves with the wood, and you can actually use the whole cabinet and spin it versus having the plastic teeter with a pole in it. That pole is kind of the inevitable of how stopping you from storing large things in there. So that the corners have gotten a lot better for storage and trying to avoid the blind corner mess that you can get, especially in the older homes right now.
And this might be a good space to talk about the garage concept in the kitchen too. So back in the 80s, they had those roll top garages.
Yes, they did.
That are a little bit dated now, but those, we've come a long way in the technology behind those as well. So it's again, an opportunity to hide those countertop appliances and still look chic and cool.
Yes, yeah,
So,
and a lot of them lift up now to where it's not so traditional looking with the roll and the slats in there. So, but yeah, there's lots of different things you can do to kind of add that storage on there for it. Our next question is have you ever dealt with mobile islands? What if you have a smaller kitchen and can't have a full island? Maybe something can be tucked away. Yes, I have. There's lots of different things that you can actually do for this. You can have a small, it's kind of a good way to add a butcher block to it too, is there's a lot of different things that we can do to make it roll and have a butcher block on top, and that be like your prepping section, and you can roll it to where you're cooking actually and make it really nice for that. Tucking it away, hopefully there might be another section where we can add and tuck it underneath your countertop and your cabinet in there to make it look like the kitchen, or pull it aside and make it look like a furniture piece when it's ready to have, like when you have people over and you don't want it in the way. But it's going to be dependent on your size, and what we will do when we do our measurements is we still make sure that there's enough space, a place to put it, and to kind of either tuck it away or put it against a wall for you. There's some stuff we can do within the design for that as well, which makes it really functioning and nice.
And again, it looks really, really sleek. We recently just designed a kitchen just this past week, and you can't even tell where the rollout island is tucked away. I mean, it's hidden that well. But then when you pull it out, it's functional and doesn't take up room when you store it.
Yeah.
So
it's underneath the countertop, and our designer made the measurements to make sure it slid in between 2 cabinets, and it works really well. It makes it look sharp. Our next question is can you talk about kitchen lighting? Yes, we can. A lot of the homes in Michigan right now, especially the older homes, do not have any lights in them. They have maybe like one hanging light or a fan or something. So I guess this is kind of a trend too, but I think it's a great thing to do and a great thing to add is add recessed can lighting as much as you can throughout your kitchen and throughout your home, especially in those living rooms right now that we have that you only have an outlet switch to turn the light on and you got to have a lamp in there. So, and it's very feasible to do and very cost effective to actually do as well, to pull wire through and pull it down and connect it to a switch. So that is one thing I would always recommend is adding recessed can lighting throughout your kitchen. And if you have enough in a unique space, you can add a lot of character with your lighting and pendants and fixtures over your island, over your sink, a drop down from the window. And it's also a lot of fun to do sconces over floating shelves and make it kind of really unique and give it a lot of character, pulling it out over the floating shelf and adding extra light to those floating shelves of what's on your floating shelf. So there's lots of different things we can do with lighting, but my number one recommendation is to always add recessed can lighting throughout because it's going to help you when it's dark out. It's going to help you more than your pendants will and more than your other lights that you have in there. The other big thing that is kind of going through is adding, if you have a lot of upper cabinets, is to add under cabinet lighting. A lot of them now are smart lights, which is kind of fun and exciting, especially if you like to have dance parties. But so they're little strips, they're LED strips, and they will actually, they're normally your standard LED white color, but they change colors. There's a couple of Alexa ones that will dance and change colors to the music you have going. So if you really like to dance and have a dance party light, it's the best way to do that for under cabinet lighting. Just a fun little thing you can add. There you go. But I think the more lights, the better throughout your kitchen, the more you can see.
Yeah, it's interesting to me, even as little as 20 years ago, lighting, it seems like there was one flush mount light on a kitchen, and it's kind of funny to me. But as Danny alluded to, no pun intended here, but light is really an opportunity to let your personality shine. And, you can have some fun with some lighting, pendant lighting above your kitchen island. What's that?
I was just saying, no pun intended.
Sorry.
No, it's good.
But and here at Light and Designs, we have really, really good lighting vendors that we work with and talk about character. You can come in and find something that's contemporary and classic and clean, or something with that rustic kind of modern farmhouse look. So if you can't tell, I really like lighting. So
I do too. It adds a lot of character.
Yep.
And it's kind of just like your hardware on your cabinets is your jewelry or accessories for your cabinets. So is your lighting in the house. So it makes it a lot of fun and makes it really unique to the space. Our next question is, what is the best kind of floor for a kitchen? I have dropped plates on a tile floor and it's a guaranteed break. Yes, if you have tile, it is a guaranteed break just because it is a very hard porcelain floor. But even on any other type of floor, when you drop something, it's probably you have a higher chance of it breaking. But I'm gonna say your best floor is your vinyl plank flooring that is 100% waterproof, scratch proof. And if something does happen, you don't have to get it fixed. Normally it's gonna stay. It's gonna be resistant to the water. It's not gonna have any damage to it. And I also, just because I love wood and I love natural wood, I would definitely if you have the opportunity to pull a natural wood floor throughout your whole kitchen, I would do it in a heartbeat just because it's going to be warmer than your tile. It's also softer than your tile. It is not waterproof like your vinyl planking, but it just gives so much character throughout your home. So that's what's kind of nice about the vinyl is that it gives a wood look with the waterproof on it. But that's kind of your best thing for your floor.
I couldn't agree more. And as we talk about trends, one of the trends is to keep that flooring consistent throughout your whole home. And it accomplishes a few things. Number one, it makes your decision making a little less difficult. But it also offers an opportunity for a home to look larger. So if you add consistent flooring throughout your home, go ahead and add that wood look into your kitchen. As Danny alluded, it's going to lend itself to maybe not save your dishes, but it'll lend itself to a more warmer tone in your kitchen. So
yes. Our next one is I've seen kitchen with gold accents. I've even seen sinks that are gold. Can that be incorporated without looking tacky? Of course, it can be incorporated without looking tacky. You're going to see that brush bronze right now is very popular. It's probably started getting more and more popular a year and a half, 2 years ago, and it's still going, especially the two-tone with a brush bronze and the black. I'm seeing that go more and more as well. And you can take those things and incorporate softer tones to not make it stand out so much, and add softer cabinet color, add the right piece of quartz with it that maybe has a little bit of a flex gold in it too, to kind of incorporate it to not make it so bold stating from something stark and dark. But I truly believe that your gold and your black is a really beautiful classic color that you can't go wrong with. That even though it is kind of trendy right now, it's something that I've always loved, and I know I would love in my kitchen. But I don't think you can go wrong and make it not look tacky. There's a lot of different ways we can pull things to help complement it, and we can complement it with, again, going back to your lighting fixtures, is we can add the complements with your lighting fixtures or your hardware to help pull those nodes throughout, so it's not so solid in just one area. The next one we have is we have a bar in our kitchen, but we sit at our dining room table for dinner because if we sit at the bar, we don't face each other. Have you seen families consider this in current kitchen design? Yes, actually, we have a ton. I think the biggest thing that's happening is our islands are getting a little bit larger and larger, so they have sitting on two sides at least. The other big thing that we actually are getting to design right now is designing an island specifically just for sitting on both sides and incorporating it in the kitchen. And our client that's what she wants, and that's what we're designing it for. We're still making it functional for storage on either end and making sure they're sitting on both sides. So we are seeing it to be more and more popular to kind of at least wrap your island around or do a true sitting on two sides and the back. So you do have that full option to sit around and be able to kind of sit and be able to look at each other and talk and do that and have some conversation, especially when you're hosting if you have a larger family and have a party. Normally everybody just crowds around the island because that's where all the food is, and you're just seeing it to be more and more of that situation in way, which is really nice. So
we've done a couple kitchens too where we have the traditional bar, but then at the end we have a circular section, so you can use that circular section to seat 3 or 4 additional people, and then have that 2 or 4-way conversation and actually see each other. So
and do kind of an off kick. It's a lot of fun to do. Actually, add a lot of character to your bar area as well. You can add a different post in there, incorporate it, make it really unique to that space.
Good question, though.
That is a very good question. Our next question is can or should you combine a butler's pantry with a half bath, maybe with a divider to have to save space? I mean, yeah, you could definitely combine. Let's say if you have a larger area in your half bath, you could make your half bath smaller, just so it's just like a vessel sink that's really small in your toilet, and then take space away. And I guess it would all just depend kind of on your placement of where it is in the kitchen. It's kind of becoming a trend a little bit more, and more people are seeing of it, is what they call a pass-through. It's a hidden butler pantry, and all it is you're opening what looks like a pantry cabinet, and you are walking into this secret kind of room. I love them, and I love working with them and designing them. And so maybe if that bathroom is larger, we could take away and kind of have that secret hidden spot within the kitchen, or kind of just open it up for a door and add storage with a smaller area for your your toilet and your sink and have a separate entrance. But I think I would try as hard as I could to have it be separate as much as possible. Do you have anything to add?
I do. I guess I think you answered it well, but I also think the butler pantries, because they are becoming more and more popular, they if you think about how you used your kitchen at holiday time or anytime you entertain, it's really an opportunity to set up a bar area if you don't have a bar, and get that flow of that track, because everybody congregates around the kitchen. As much as we try to push people in the living room or whatever, it always seems that our parties end up in the kitchen. And that butler pantry just offers such a tremendous opportunity for your guests to just kind of flow through, get their own drinks, and then you can still have the food out in the kitchen area, but it kind of breaks up the congestion that can sometimes occur in the kitchen. So.
All right, we have another question. In a kitchen dining room where they are kind of in the same space, can I nix the dining space in my kitchen and just have an island? You definitely can. A lot of people are actually doing that more and more, is pulling their island farther back. It just depends on your layout too, but extending your island over into your dining room, especially to have larger seating, or making a really long continuous and doing a 2-height island. So then there's a standard table height and then your counter space to work off of. So there's definitely lots of ways to get rid of the table and have it combined within your islands and make it unique and make it kind of more functioning all and flow throughout all of it. I don't know if you have anything to add to that specific.
No.
The next one is that something people.
So when they find they don't use the dining room table, that's something they do.
Okay.
When they find they don't use
The giant. Yeah, you do. Or making your island larger to add more seats in it. You want comfortably 24 inches or a little bit more, like minimally 24 inches between each stool to fit comfortably. So a lot of people are, I'm going to say, extending their islands to be a lot longer or more unique incorporation with a table attached to it to make it more functioning for them. No, you're good. Thank you. We have another one is, I know houses still have the phone nook desk area. Yes, they do. Should those be taken out? Your opinion? About a year and a half ago, I would say yes, get rid of those. We don't need them. but life has changed, and I think it's going to be changed for a while now. It's not just going to be over this last year and this next year. I think you're going to need a desk area. So if you do not have a room to create a desk to be able to sit at home and do a lot of stuff from home now because of COVID, it might be a good idea to revamp it up, make it a little bit more your style and more area to kind of hide and put all the stuff that you do need to work from home and do everything from home. I used to say get rid of them, and now it's a lot different of a conversation I have with my customers. I normally ask them now if they don't have an area to have a desk or be able to work from home, or they've created it in their dining room. Let's create a new space for you that's closed so you can work from home and do everything from home, or do your hybrid, especially for kids. If you have kids now, a lot of them are in a hybrid school setting. And it's not going to change, I don't think, for a few years. Again, there's going to be some new some new rules added to our life and our changes, that there's going to be a new normal. And I think that's going to be a new normal, but you can kind of see it within the design of stuff already trending as well, and how they're designing in new construction and residential and commercial.
And then I would also say, if you are leaning that direction because there is a need, you're working remotely or you have children in school, there are still ways to design it so it doesn't look so desky. I feel like in the 90s, it just definitely looked like, oh, that's what that intention is. Where now in today's world, we can design it so you could still swap it out and easily use it for a coffee bar or whatever.
Yes.
So,
yes, that is very true too. It's designing it more within function to use it versatily is a very important thing. The next question is do you incorporate built-in cutting boards in the kitchen? It just, again, depends if somebody is a really big cook. We definitely can do a butcher blacktop. That's an option. You can use it as your cutting board. A lot of companies manufacturers, I should say, have gone away from doing the drawer cutting boards because not a lot of people use it, but you can add it if you are a big cook above your trash and do stuff above your trash. So you're just scraping it into your trash right away and not having to carry it around. So there's definitely ways to do it if you are a big cook and like to have the cutting board within reach and kind of close to your trash can. Our next question is what are the biggest errors you see people making with their kitchen design? Wrong appliances, wrong colors, didn't stretch the budget enough. All of them. Yeah, all of them. And I think they kind of go hand in hand. So I'm going to talk about your budget is everybody's going to have their budget and their place of where they can afford and cost. And I normally, when I talk about a budget with somebody, I go into a lot of details about what is this home for you. If this is if this is a forever home for you, then you should definitely consider what your budget is and the longevity you're living there. Because if it's going to be 20 plus years, I would have a bigger budget, because then the quality of everything you're putting in there is going to last you that length, and do really good and put your full mind of all your dream stuff versus cutting things out. So definitely kind of think about that. The other thing is, if this is just a home for 5 years and you're just trying to fix it and sell it, and this is just your space to kind of buy time, then maybe your budget can be a lot smaller, and we just do some trend things to make it work and sell it for you and get it really comfortable for you to live in for that 5 years, and then you can still sell it. So but that kind of goes with the color thing, is that maybe we kind of do a trendy color versus the color that you truly love, and we take that budget to a white cabinet versus, let's say, a custom color that you could get. Wrong appliances. So, I mean, you can definitely get the wrong appliances, but I think the bigger thing with that is the placement of your appliances. I see more issues of going in and people placing their appliances in the wrong area and actually not thinking of the flow of how you work and how you do things and where your refrigerator should be or how your refrigerator should open. So you're not, especially what I'm seeing more and more 42-inch refrigerators be popular, you're going to want the doors opening the right way, so you're not having to go around your whole door to place something on your counter. So the placement of it is where I see a lot of things happening and go wrong. So it's about the flow and your function with your appliances versus the wrong appliances.
And then I would like to interject because I actually see this happening a lot, and I feel sorry. The big trend of painting cabinets. If you're going to paint your cabinets, and we all know the 80s and 90s, it was like Oak Haven, right? And there's oak everywhere. But if you really go to paint your kitchen cabinets, know what you're getting into. That's really going to last about 5 years.
Yeah.
And it's going to start to show the cracks, and it's going to start to chip and all those things. And it's fine for a solution of if it's not your forever home.
Mhm.
But if you're really looking for to revamp your kitchen, make the investment and do yourself the favor of investing in new cabinets.
Yeah. And then wrong colors. I mean, it's going to depend on the trend. I think a lot of people were pulling so many blues and grays in all of a sudden, but when I kind of talk to people, it's like, if you love the color blue, then stick with blue. If you don't love the color blue, but you think it's just pretty right now, then maybe we shouldn't go with a blue. You have to love the colors that you're putting in there. So, and again, it's going to depend if it's something that you're living in for a short while, or if it's your forever home and you, let's say you love the color red, then I will have a long talk with you about what can happen with the color red and touching the color red. But if you love it and we go through that process, then you can definitely do it. You just kind of want to be prepared for maybe the fingerprints and the marking of what actually shows on red when you do a red cabinet. But there's lots of different things if you have a designer with you that you can go through to get the right color for you and still get your dream colors that you like in your kitchen.
I'm going to throw in too, red actually does increase your appetite. So in your kitchen, it's not a good idea to do red.
So there's lots of options, and it's just a lot of discussions and making sure you have the right person to walk you through it so you're making the right decisions. I think is truly important with kind of all your questions on the biggest errors. Our next question is, I know appliances are getting better and cooler. If a pizza oven isn't a pizza oven an option in the kitchen these days, or am I dreaming? I don't think you're dreaming at all. I think the wood pizza ovens are a very big option and very doable. You're actually seeing more, I think, outdoor kitchens with the oven, the wood stove cooking spot for the fire grills, kind of the inserts within above a fireplace to kind of be more of a trend right now too. I think people are finally kind of going, I call it the California lifestyle. You have an indoor-outdoor space within your kitchen, and your outdoor space has sitting area to be able to sit outside. You have the fireplace there with a brick oven above it that kind of gives you that chance to cook your pizzas and do that. Or you can have it inside and have a pizza oven inside, and we can insert it into a cabinet and make it look like part of the ovens that you do. But it is an option and not a dream. If you love it, then you should definitely go for it, and we can figure out how to incorporate it. But you do see them being more and more popular as well. Do you have anything to add?
No, I totally agree with you.
All right, so we have one more question. When having parties with lots of crock pots, I tend to keep them on the back counters because of outlets. Can you add outlets in the middle of the islands? In the middle of an island? Yes, you can add outlets in the middle of the island. There's lots of different ways to do it. You could just have something set in your courts and cover it up. There are now options to have little pop-ups in the middle of your island with your quartz or your top that you have. So all you have to do is press and it pops up and it adds a ton of outlets for you. I'm a true believer that more outlets in your island, the better, because there's lots of different things. If you come into our showroom at Delight and Designs and you come check out our island, we have outlets galore. We have an outlet on each end and in the center. Just kind of ready for the same thing of the crock pots, using your laptop or being able to charge something. It is our belief to add as many as we can throughout there to make sure that you are able to plug everything in that you need to. Especially right now with lab working from home and kids working or being home from school and doing hybrid. You need them for your laptops. You need them for hosting people and crock pots, your Instapots. All of those small appliances that are very usable. So yes, there's lots of different options, and that I've seen it to be more and more known of the push-up, so that when you're not using it, it goes away and hides again.
Which is a nice feature. And I always, when I have meetings with my clients too, I always kind of ask the question, have you ever asked yourself the question of, I have too much power in this room? That never happens. That's not a thing, right?
Yeah.
We always want more. So
yeah. And smaller appliances are getting to be your Instapots, your crock pots, your rice cookers. There's the air fryers now are getting to be more and more bigger and popular, and you definitely need as many outlets as you can, and you can add them in lots of different places.
all right. It is 1 o'clock, so I think our time unfortunately is up. Thank you for all the great questions. It was definitely helpful to get the questions out there and get them answered. So thank you for that. Thank you to ShowSpan for allowing Delight and Designs to take part. And with that,
stop in our showroom if you would like to. Hopefully we can help you in a certain way with kitchen design or interior design.
thank you much.
Thank you.